It's time for us to check back in with Mrs. Hicks. I've been doing a series of interviews with her. She was born in 1926 in the Junaluska section of Cherokee County. If you've missed any of those previous videos, just look in a description below for a playlist. In this part of the interview, she talks about some of her favorite foodways of Appalachia. She talks about Arsh taters that her mother fried, and cornbread. That was her favorite thing to eat. I love that she used the term Arsh potato, Arsh taters. That's what I grew up with, Pap and Granny calling them that. That's how we differentiated. You either had sweet potatoes or you had Arsh potatoes. An Arsh potato is just a white potato. Mrs. Hicks also details how she used to wash clothes when she was a young married wife. It was very hard. She washed them in the creek, so she tells details about that. It's so fascinating and makes me feel so blessed to have a washing machine today. She talks about some of the poverty they had. We talked about Christmas, and she talked about how people in those days just didn't have any money to have Christmases like we do today. But they would often get together, they would have a party, they would eat, there would be music and maybe some dancing at somebody's house, but it was totally different from the Christmases that most of us enjoy today. In those days, she says that most often people, the only thing you could do for a job was either be a bootlegger or cut timber, be a logger. Especially blesses my heart in this part of the video is she talks about how much she loves her home, how she wouldn't want to live anywhere else but in this area of Appalachia. That really speaks to me because that's exactly how I feel. I hope that you enjoy this part of the interview, and I hope that you'll continue to drop back by to see what happens next in this series with Miss Hicks. What was one of your favorite foods that your mother did cook? Was it the cornmeal or the blackberry mush or something? What did you like that she fixed on a regular basis?
I just, I like, some people don't, Mom would peel and slice Arsh potatoes mostly. It's what people lived on, Arsh potatoes and cornbread, stuff like that. And she'd stew it and put some meat, before she'd take the meat grease, season it with it. I always thought that was the best thing I ever had.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That was my favorite, I guess, when I was growing up.
That and some cornbread's a meal, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arsh potatoes and corn. Yeah. If you had a cow, you was lucky, and you could have milk and butter,
Yeah.
We didn't always have a cow, but when we did, but when me and Louis, we moved back home, we got a cow, and we had cows, and we raised some young cows and let people have them, and go on. But I enjoyed it, and I always did. And when he's home, he'd milk. He liked to milk.
Yeah.
But most of the time when he's gone off work, and I got up and done the milking, and I told the children, but then, like I said, when I was when I was over in Tennessee, I was talking about washing clothes,
Yeah.
I told him how I used to have to wash clothes. Go down to the creek. I had a big wash pot down there. I filled it up with water and got it hot. And then I had some tubs. And I dipped some out of that wash pot and poured in the tub and cooled it down. And then poured some more water in that wash pot so I'd have some to boil the clothes in, And I said, we had a scrub board, and we scrubbed our clothes out on the scrub board. Took soap, and put washing powders in that pot.
Yeah.
And put our clothes in there, and had a stick, we'd punch our stick around and boil our clothes. And then then we'd scrub some more while I was boiling. And then we'd get them out, and we'd empty the tubs and fill up 2 tubs with cold water. We'd dip out, take our stick and dip clothes out that hot water and put in there, and we'd rinse it through that cold water, and then we'd rinse it through another. We'd take them and hang them on the clothesline, And when they got dry, we got them up and folded them up and put them hot. But we didn't have
the washer and dryers we do today.
Didn't have no electricity. We didn't have no electricity till in the 50s up on Junaluska, Yeah. It's hard for them. That's what I'm saying. It's just hard for them to realize.
Yeah.
Carry the water from the spring to cook and wash dishes with. And
Yeah. Yeah, and had to get your wood
But
for your
I had
fire.
a good creek because I dip water out of to wash clothes, you know.
Yeah.
And my spring was right there close to it too. And I had a good spring. You know spring water, the regular spring water. You know, in the summertime, you can go dip your dipper full up. It's better than ice water if we put ice in it. It's cold. But you know, in the wintertime, that water in that spring is warm.
Yeah.
It won't freeze.
Yeah.
Don't differ how cold it
Yeah.
gets, that spring won't freeze.
Right.
But now the creeks will freeze.
Right. Yeah.
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 It's hard to realize, but I said God knows what He is doing when He made people and made things for them to have, didn't He?
He did. Yeah. He did. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We'd have some chickens, and you'd have a few eggs, and hatch off some, and you'd get some, we call them frying size, you know, and have chicken. You didn't go to the store and buy everything like you can now. It's hard for you know, I mean, there are some is getting up in years, it's hard for them to realize it, how it was raised, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it first started, what meant women, why you wouldn't have thought about a woman have a pair of pants on.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I know, and I remember, and Lord, the first girl I ever seen in Andrews, that's one girl in Andrews, that started wearing shorts. And Lord, that was the awfulest thing you ever heard tell her. she, I did know her name, and I forgot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just, now shorts is better than a lot of things they wear.
Some of them, they don't just about you got nothing on.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
They go to extreme, they really do.
Yeah.
I think somebody with a nice pair of shorts, you know, just plain, and you know, that looks all right, but some of them just goes overboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one thing I never did.
When you were young, when you was growing up, was Christmas special? I mean, did you celebrate, or did you?
Well, sometimes later on, somebody'd have one at their house, and somebody maybe come and make music, and they'd cook supper, eat about midnight or something, and have a little party, something like that. But they did, and people didn't have money to buy it much, but they always tried to get the children like an orange, apple, and some stick candy, and sometimes they could afford sometimes a toy, you know.
Yeah.
They just wasn't jobs. They wasn't, you know, like I say, that people, they called it bootlegging.
Yeah.
Bootlegging and cutting timber. That was about all the work there was.
Right.
I can remember when they, the people are out there in town that had stores, they didn't have a car to drive. They didn't drive the car to the store. Even the teachers didn't.
They walked.
The first teacher that drove a car to our school after I started Andrews, you know, from up at, they moved the school, Junaluska school, and all moved them to, you know, down there, was Miss Ruth Pulliam. She moved here, her husband come to work on a dam that they built down at Murphy, and that was the first teacher's car that I ever seen, was right there in that parking lot. The teachers walked to school. They lived close enough, you know, they walked to school. The children, lots of them walked from, and that like before they got to go on to Andrews School, you know what I'm saying, up on Junaluska, up above the, I guess, where you get up. Do you know where Belleville Moss Taylor and them lives? Where you get to where I was telling you about Bar Branch is.
Yeah,
That ridge up, next ridge up there.
Yeah.
And you go around this deep curve like this. Now that, up through there, that's on the, it's, them big fields on above there is where on above that ridge up there, there's a little branch comes off the mountain there, and then the road used to come around this way, and they changed it, comes straight down now.
Yeah.
There, now that's where Mr. Ledford them lived there, and their children, Bee and Eldon, them, they're all dead and gone. Bee married Eldon Hicks, but Bee was one of Mr. Ledford's daughters, and they lived there in Verge Hogan's house. They walked from there down to the Junaluska school, down there where the first bridge after you start at Junaluska, where those Junaluska schoolhouse lived.
Yeah.
Was, yeah. Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
The first year I went to school, that was last year that I believe that, no, they did. They went on, they did, after that I can't remember. First year I went to school, I went to the old Junaluska schoolhouse. And then when we went, they sent us to the 4th grade, I was from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade. I think's when they started the buses, or the year before one, I can't remember.
Then started having the buses, so you didn't have to walk. Yeah.
It's amazing how the times changed. So.
Did you take your lunch to school? What did you usually
Oh yeah,
take?
everybody took their lunches to
Yeah.
school. Later on, let's see, I don't know what grade I was in. They started in the white, the old white schoolhouse, but up on the hill, the old white building. They called it that. It used to be the schoolhouse at first,
Yeah.
Now it was still there, and they built these other schools over there after they. It's hard to imagine how things change.
Yeah. Yeah, even in my lifetime, things change. Even driving over here to see you, coming up, like if we'd come from Brasstown, but just on this little road, the changes, because I don't come on this road very much. The houses that last time I was on here wasn't there. Now they look like they've been there a while. I just hadn't been up this road.
Yeah,
All
well,
the
they built,
changes. Yeah.
they rebuilt, Junaluska Road was just a rocky road, till several years back. I can't remember what year they paved it, at Junaluska. But it's amazing what everybody still, we didn't have, it's 50. I seem like Clara, my daughter Clara was the lady. When it was in the 50s, 51, 52, somewhere along there, when they run the power line through down Junaluska.
So when you think about living in this area, Appalachia, Junaluska, where you come from, or here, what do you think some of the best, would you want to live somewhere else, or why do you think you're happy to live here?
I'd rather be here than anywhere I've ever been in my life. I've never seen no place that, it's up to people. Some people like cities. No. I like it. The mountains, my creeks. They can have the Florida, ain't got no use for that. They can have it. They can enjoy it if they want to. I don't have nothing to do with that. I like my creeks and my little springs. Yes, I'm happy just where my home is. Yeah. Some people can't wait to get moved and go way off somewhere. I never have. I've moved, but we've lived different places a few times. Here's the work in Tennessee and places like that, but I want my home.
Yeah.
I just like the mountains, like the little creeks and streams. It makes me just happy to look out and see these big old pine trees. Stuff like that where we was raised up.
Yeah.
Good old black dirt, go out and dig up some dirt, plant stuff, food, whatever.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm like you. I don't want to be nowhere else either. I interviewed, I don't know if you ever knew him, but L.C. Chastain one time, and I asked him that, and he said, well, I read, he just lived right down here. I know you remember L.C.
Yes.
But I asked him that, and he said, well, I reckon if I didn't live here, I'd be getting here as fast as I could. And that's how
That's the way I feel.
yeah.
I don't know. I just love it. Love the mountain. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of becomes part of who you are somehow.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
where God put us and where we're going to stay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I so appreciate you letting me talk to you. I hope you'll let me come back, because I didn't even ask you about all the medicinal stuff. I want to ask you about that, but I know I may wear you out. We'll wait till another day if I can come back and talk to you.
That's all right. I'm a talker.
Well,
You say my little grandson, Cale, they talk about him talking. I said, well, he got it honest.
well, if you let me, I'll come back. Come back next week, maybe even if you're
Whenever.
up for it. Yeah, come back and talk to you again. We'll go down that trail, that rabbit hole. Yeah, ask you about that. You mentioned Cleo, so that's how was she related to you?
Cleo was my husband's sister.
Okay.
And she used to stay with me, and I took care of her grandmother.
Okay.
See, when we lived at Fontana, when Roy was a baby, Les moved me in a house on Junaluska with his grandmother, because his mama had children at home going to school, and she didn't have anybody to take care of her. His grandpa died.
Yeah.
And so Roy was a baby when I moved in there with her, and I took care of her like 2 months, taking care of her 4 years.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Wow.
And then Lewis wanted me to, that's when he started working off,
Yeah.
going to have to move. So he took me with me, and they put one of those nursing homes down there at Murphy, where you go to that feed store, that little house up on the hill.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Okay.
They took Rachel, Alyssa's mama, took her mother down and put her in that nursing home.
Okay. Yeah.
But I took care of her like 2 months, taking care of her for 4 years.
Yeah. Huh. So Cleo was a nurse, is what she ended up being.
Yeah, she stayed with us for the night. Cleo would come. She loved to come up and stay with us. They lived just right down below us, and she couldn't wait when she got out of the school bus to come up and stay with me and Ma Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She used to come, and she liked to come. After she got married, her and her husband and the kids would come and stay all night and go camping. Alyssa take them camping. I didn't go camping much, because I had to take care of the cow and the chickens and things.
Yeah.
They'd go
I had to stay
camping.
close to home. Yeah.
They'd take Jacob and Mel, and after they got big enough, they'd go with them, and they'd go camping.
Yeah.
Then it got so I didn't hardly ever see him. Let's go down to Cleo's. He'd go down and help her do things, he built her a little building out beside of her house that
Yeah.
she put her things that she worked with in. She took took Jacob and Melvin with him down there, and they'd help him, hand him things, you know. This is full of boys, but still they built her a building. Yeah, Cleo, well, you know, Luz took her when Oval was born. Oval was next to her. Luz took Cleo to bed with him, and she slept with him till he went to CC camps. Yeah.
He took care of her.
Yeah, he took care of her.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah, I read her book a long time ago, and as I was reading it, of course, I realized that she was near me. You know, Junaluska was near me, but I kept wondering if she was related to Melvin. And then somewhere way over in the book, she mentions my nephew, Melvin, and his wife Ramona. And then I had my answer. I thought, well, that's Melvin's family. Yeah, yeah.
And you know, my grandpa's name was Melvin. Well, I didn't name our son. My husband named him.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how come him to say Melvin, but that's what he wanted to name him.
I wondered when you were telling us about your grandparents. I thought, oh, well, that's where Melvin's name come from, but it was
Yeah, my husband.
your husband named him.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband named Corey and Katie. He wouldn't let me name. He didn't like none of my names, so he had an aunt Cora, but they called her Corey, like you were talking about Lisa for Lisa. And then Kate was his grandpa's mule. Was his Katie, so that's who Katie's named after. Yeah.